Welcome to Bare Bones. With your host, Danny Meehan and Dr. Mason West.
Welcome in, Bears fans, to this episode of Bare Bones. As always, I am Dr. Mason West and joined by co-host Danny Meehan, co-host Khari Thompson. How are y'all doing today?
I'm good, Mace. How are you?
I'm excited. I don't know if you can tell, but I'm excited. I love draft season. I'm excited for this to honestly be over, but at the same time, I love draft season.
It's great.
All right, so we today are going to be simulating.
Honestly,
right?
I feel like I haven't even been like on it.
Yeah, kind of even a little bit in the
Sorry,
back.
I'm lagging. This is rough.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with your connection right now.
The Lagging Dragon.
I don't know either, bro. I might have to figure out something different. Here, let me do something. Continue.
Khari's doing something, but what we're doing today is we are doing a simulation, maybe two, depends on our time, of the War Room, right? What is going on behind the scenes potentially? As we know, I mean, we're just kind of three idiots who like to talk about this and do a decent amount of analysis behind the scenes. But you know, this is fun. It's a good way just to look at it, get different perspectives. One thing I'm very excited about is we actually are going to have a special guest that is going to pop in here later in the show. So we will have the thing I'm excited about that is, you know, I know sometimes Dane and I are very similar in terms of how we love our running backs, love some of our hard-nosed guys. Khari and I are kind of very similar in how we just enjoy the chaos and just the swag kind of thing in terms of some of those choices. So it'll be fun. It'll be cool to be able to have someone else in here to balance this out a little bit, different perspective, things of that nature. So really, we're just gonna dive into it. So we have pulled up here. We're using PFF for this. I just think the interface is like the way to go, to be completely honest, compared to some of the other ones, even if their rankings and some of this stuff is a little wonky. But we're gonna do the best we can with that. Any opening thoughts, Danny, before we start the simulator?
More so than anything, just be prepared in real life to be not getting the player you probably envisioned them getting.
Be ready to be disappointed.
Yeah. Don't. Number 10 sucks. And you could be like, well, aren't you the guy that you don't lose games? If they lose to the Packers, they're picking 7. Like, yeah, I don't think the difference between 7 and 10 is all that great.
No, it's really, we've talked about this before. I mean, it's at the top of the draft. You have two guys, you know, Abdul Carter, you have Travis Hunter, who are like the belle of the ball. And then there's a drop off, right? There's guys who are still solid, but those are really the only two true blue chip guys in this draft. And everyone else has their blemishes and some questions.
But then people will quibble with you that G&T's a running back.
Yeah, absolutely. Exactly. So, you know, we'll start this year, see what's going to happen. Cam Ward went first overall. So I'm throwing this out here at just to have this conversation. Would you ever envision a situation at this point in time that the Bears are trading up for Abdul Carter, Khari?
No, I don't think this is. Look, in terms of players that you would do it for, Abdul Carter is the one that you would do it for in this draft. I just don't think that you're going to mortgage those kinds of assets right now. You do need a blue chip edge player. You do. It's true. But I think that you have enough other holes to where you only make that move because again, we're talking about moving up from 10 to 2. That's the kind of move you make when you're one piece away from a title. The Bears are not one piece away from the title, so no.
Danny, anything to add to that?
No, Khari hit the nail on the head. They're not in the position really to be moving up at all. They need, if anything, the trade conversation should be involving going the other way, because you've traded away so many of your 4th and 2nd round picks here and 5th round picks that your depth lacks. Like while while the frontline players are all good for the most part, like if any of them go down, you're playing bums because you keep trading off these picks to try to get players like Joe Tooney, for instance, who's a good football player and rightfully so, but it eats away at your depth.
And we'll expound upon this when we get to pick 10 here. But, for example, Albert Breer tweeted out a couple days ago, one thing that's real obvious, going to be very difficult to trade down for teams in the top 10 this year. Lots of teams in that range would like to. With a class where the difference between 5 and 15 or even 4 and 20 is negligible, tough to see what team would come up for. So, we're going to handle this when we get to 10. At least one of the two today, we're not trading down. We're saying we can't find a dance partner, if not for both. As much as everyone's going to probably pound the table to do so, there's no guarantee. The quarterbacks, you have Cam Ward, and then who the heck knows what's going to happen. Could Shador go to 9 to the Saints? Could a team like the Steelers trade up? Maybe, but there's also a chance you get one quarterback that goes the entire first round. So, you just don't have that top end talent to see a bunch of moving around like you have in past years.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think interestingly, if you really, really wanted to do it, I mean, there's no way that it would be allowable. But from a trade standpoint, because I have the handy dandy Pittsburgh Spielberger draft trade chart up right now, technically you should be able to get away with trading up to 2 overall with, obviously the number 10 pick and then trading away 1 of your seconds. That should get you there, but that's not how that works.
Are you there, Danny?
Right.
Chance.
Okay.
Apparently the connection didn't like what Khari was saying so much that they just bonked him out. So we're gonna let him reset. All right, coming back.
I was just gonna say, in a world where you could just take 1 of your seconds and trade it up to number 2 for Abdul Carter, like in that case, yeah, I don't care. Go ahead and do that. This is not gonna happen. That's not a thing.
And isn't it also proven that historically, even still to this day, the Jimmy Johnson trade chart on the day of the event is also still the most accurate in terms of what these values are on pick swaps?
Yeah,
I remember reading that.
I hear it goes all different ways, to be quite honest. Like between Jimmy Johnson, you said the Spielberger Fitzgerald, their teams make their own charts.
Yeah,
mm-hmm.
I think that's really
that was the Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah job in Cleveland.
Yeah,
which is hilarious considering how he's treated his picks.
Just like giving away candy. So long story short, we're not trading up for Abdul Carter. All right, resuming. Browns take Abdul Carter. Will Campbell goes to the Giants. Travis Hunter's to the Patriots. Ted McMillan, Mason Graham, Membu gone. Ashton Genty gone at pick 8. Jihad Campbell gone at pick 9.
What's funny is the Jihad Campbell, because of how Mickey Loomis operates, doesn't feel completely dumb.
It technically doesn't, to be fair. All right, so I'm going to click on the trade thing just to see just examples of teams who are wanting to trade up at this point. This is just for pomp and circumstance in all reality. But we got offers from Dolphins, Colts, Cardinals, Bucks. Danny, if you were going to entertain an idea of a trade down, which I know you mentioned earlier that would be the best case. We're not doing that right here, but where would you rather end up? Like further back with the Bucks at 19 to get more value, or just a little dip back, for example, with the Dolphins 3 picks behind?
I'd probably prefer to not drop too far, just to ensure you're still getting a pretty talented player while picking up a pick or 2.
Yeah, I would say I'd agree. Probably 13, 14.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so players that we have available. So the Bears have needs, right? Running back, defensive line, safeties up there for a need, tackle depth, or even a starting tackle, depending on how you want to look at that, is need. So here, if we're just using PFF rankings, I'm going to go through a couple of the top names on the board, and then we're going to have discussions. So you got Jahdae Barron, cornerback, Walter Nolan, defensive interior, Malachi Starks, safety, Tyler Warren, tight end, Mike Green, edge, Will Johnson, cornerback, Luther Burden, wide receiver, Donovan Enrique, edge, Kenneth Grant, defensive interior. And there's a bunch more. I'm not going to read them all. Khari, where are your thoughts right now? What are you thinking?
I have one thought, and it's Tyler Warren. That's it.
And as a reminder, for people listening in, watching this live, you're going to get a chance to vote. So once we kind of get 4 options here lined up, I'm going to get that all up so your voice can be heard in this. So Tyler Warren already an option. Why is that, Khari?
He's the best player. I mean, I think that from what I have seen, okay, so you have a couple of DBs here that I think are good players, but I love Malachi Starks, by the way. Not number 10 overall love, but love that guy. Great player. But of the players that I'm looking at right now, some people would say, like, get your tackle right here. Yeah, who? Who are you drafting right here? If you got Campbell gone, Membo is gone at this point.
Membo's gone.
Yep, he's gone.
Membo's gone. So
he went 7 to the Jets.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, no, that doesn't work for me. Every other tackle you're probably reaching for at this point. And then I think you're literally just thinking, like, who is the most dynamic player that I can get who's probably going to be a difference maker on day one? That's Tyler Warren to me. That is a multi-dimensional player, the kind of guy that I think Ben Johnson is going to know exactly what to do with. It's not just going to be your inline tight end or even pure receiving tight end. He's going to move him around and make him a matchup problem. And he's going to, I think, phone dropped over. Oh, God, I was getting too animated. But Ben Johnson's going to know exactly what to do with him and how to complement him with Cole Kmet. And I think that at this point, look, the Bears have other issues offensively. They do need to get left tackle figured out. We don't know Braxton Jones' health, and we also don't know long-term. Do we feel like he is the long-term left tackle of the future? So you do have to address those questions. My issue is the 2 guys that you could probably say might address those issues are gone right now. There are others that you might feel good about. Like, I know we've talked about Josh Connerly. We've also talked a little bit about, like, hey, back end of the first round, maybe Josh Simmons, depending on his health or something like that, right? But I just think that at number 10 overall, you're not picking one of those guys. And I think that Tyler Warren is the best player here.
Okay. All right. So we just heard from our director of personnel, Khari Thompson. So we're going to go to our assistant GM, Danny. Whose name would you throw out here that you would say, you know what, I would want here at pick 10?
Harmon.
Stole my thunder.
Mm-hmm.
That's who I was going to.
Fine, I'll let you keep your thunder.
No, I like it. Derek Harmon, go throw the name out. Why do you like Derek? I think it's a valid conversation because
I do like Darren Harmon as well.
When you go by PFF's ranking, it's at 42, average of 31, average draft position.
Dude, I think Harmon's awesome.
Let's see here really quickly just to give people an idea. Dame Brugler, he's got him a little lower. I mean, he's his second-ranked defensive interior, but on the big board, I think he's kind of in the teens. So why would you have him going here?
I think he's versatile. I think you can run him with Gervon Dexter and Grady Jarrett. He 1-teched when he was in his time at Michigan State. He 3-techs now at Oregon. I think he also has done a lot of stunt work, which is something Dennis Allen loves to do. If you watch anything from the Saints or his time as a head coach back even with Oakland at the time. I think he's a really good athlete. I think he's probably the best full-time pass rushing defensive tackle in this draft. The best one is is Norman Lott, who is has an absurd win rate, but he's a part-time player. He's literally a pass rush specialist on the interior, and you're not taking that this high. So I would throw his name in there. And for all the multitude of reasons why, he's going to need time. He's not I don't think he's some ready-made, ready to play every down kind of player, but I think he's good enough where you can spell him with Jarrett or with Gervon and let him play in a sparing role. and his learning curve will be shortened a little bit by playing with those guys on both roles.
Yeah. So I think I don't love Harmon as the number 10 overall pick, but I do really like that player. Again, watching up close at the combine, seeing the way that he, I think he really stood out among the guys in terms of just, explosiveness, his movement drills. Like, I think, again, like, what do you want from your interior defensive lineman? Right, and particularly in a scheme like what the Bears intend to run, you want guys that particularly if they're one gapping, you want them to be quick, you want them to be explosive, be good athletes, get off the ball, get in the back, disrupt plays, and I think that Harmon is exactly that kind of guy. And I feel like among defensive interior guys, I was a little surprised at how low some people have him, or how little I think he's being talked about as a top prospect, because I think that when you hone the raw materials that Derek Harmon has, that's a really good player.
I think he's the second most talented in terms of physical gifts defensive tackle in this draft.
So just if you haven't already, I completed that poll. It's up there for you to vote. We have Tyler Warren, we have Derek Harmon. I just threw on 2 other names here. There was a couple we could have done, but I went with Amarian Hampton and Colson Loveland specifically because I'm also curious what chat thinks. What our Midwest head of scouting thinks between those 2 tight ends. I know Danny and I have already kind of gave our 2 cents on them, but just the general thought process where maybe Loveland has the higher ceiling, but Warren might be the better player right now. I don't think there's issues with either one here. My biggest issue with Loveland, to be honest, is probably going to be more so he's kind of slight in terms of the frame. So he had a shoulder issue, he had concussions. How is he going to handle the NFL? I do want to add into what Danny and Khari were saying for Harmon, because he is a little further down on some boards. I just think he might honestly be, like, after Abdul Carter, the best pass rushing option, like out of even the edges, like, because he's just so. He gets in the backfield so quickly.
You're saying for the potential full-time basis, because the tape and the numbers both back up Norman Lott as a spell just being an unreal pass rusher. I
just think more as a full-time, like.
Okay, I was just clarifying our
total package as a player who can also pass rush.
Yeah, and his bend is.
And I do want to address this just because in the chat, Antonio Esparza said about Walter Nolan. Walter Nolan is purely a me thing. I love Walter Nolan. He looks like Jeffrey Simmons when he's right. The problem is he's only right about a third of the time because he's in La La Land or something. I don't know what his deal is, but he is the most physically gifted interior defensive lineman in this draft. Walter Nolan does things people that size should not be able to do. The problem is it doesn't happen often enough.
My issue with Walter Nolan, and this isn't even like issues sounds bad. His highs are so high, it's incredible. There's just not consistency. Like that's
what I'm saying. Yeah,
it's very few and it's far between. So if you could figure out a way to get him in the right situation where he does that more consistently, I mean, oh my God, you have a fantastic player. But like exactly like you're saying, Danny, I'd rather have the guy what I would say has a more mature game, because Nolan also can just be all over the place sometimes where it's like, what are you doing? So I would, if I was going that route, I'd rather have
get the biscuit, Mason.
So now we need to make a decision here, right? So with the options we have here, we're not saying what the Bears are going to do, more so what we want to do. Let's go first, Danny. Who would you say? Who are you taking here at 10?
So let me preface this by saying I agree with the premium position thing. You almost always take the fatties and everything. The problem is my issue when I look at the players at premium positions, your tackles, your edge rushers at this point, I don't think that there's enough fall off from who's left between now and 39 to justify taking one of these ones this high, as much as I like Harmon. Tyler Warren, I think. So I'll continue this thought. Ben Johnson is trying to build the Detroit Lions offense to some extent in Chicago. No matter what he's saying about about like, oh, we're going to tailor to the talent we have and then and build the offense for Caleb. Look at the players they're being connected to in the smoke that's around Caleb Johnson and Ashton Janty and Omarion Hampton and Colston Loveland and now Tyler Warren. I think, and then you go to the comments during the Hogan Johns podcast about what DA said to the Hogan Johns guys about Tyler Warren. Like, that guy's a matchup nightmare. I think that's the pick.
Yeah, and I think it
It's
really
like it's a boring answer, and I hate the history of top 10 tight ends.
Yeah,
It's a very bad history, but this draft feels like an exception to the rule draft because the premium positions just aren't good, and the drafts but the meat of the draft is really like from 40 to 90, where you can get the best football players.
Khari, who are you taking?
Yeah, that's my pick. No, I called it out right there. I think that the person that, because I don't think Jalen Walker was picked yet, or was Jalen Walker?
No,
picked
he's still available.
He's still available. I think that in terms of if you want to potentially get freakish with your potential edges, that's the one that you would consider. I could understand it for the flash of it, but I don't think that that's like for example, he's not a 4-3 defensive end. He could be a hell of a a linebacker, like a will linebacker. So you could do that, but do you want that?
He doesn't fit. He doesn't fit the offense.
For Dennis Allen, he becomes DeMario Davis.
And you just can't draft DeMario Davis at pick 10.
Yes, exactly. So to me, it's Tyler Warren, and I think your point about building the Detroit Lions offense, I think that part is less about, oh yeah, we're trying to build the exact pieces that the Detroit Lions offense had and build the exact blueprint. What it is what you said at the end, Danny, is matchup nightmares. We want to have as many people who can get open and give you headaches as we possibly can. And it happens that the Detroit Lions for the past couple of years have had a tight end that does that in Sam Laporta, right? One of the best young tight ends in football, arguably the best young tight end in football. And the opportunity to put him next to not just Cole Kmet, who's like kind of a more security blanket kind of player, right? But next to DJ Moore and Rome Odunze and whatever running back you draft next, it's a really appealing option. I mean, the guy can catch the ball. He can run the ball. He can do wildcat off it. He can do whatever it is that you want.
The other part of it that I really do want people to consider, Ben Johnson is a product of Dan Campbell. What kind of football players do these guys target? They like guys with swagger and energy, and they bring a lot of juice on the field. Tyler Warren has the acronym BDE energy, BDE, when he's on the field. He's here for the smoke. He wants your problems. I said this last week. I think that matters. Colston Loveland doesn't have that. As much as I think he's a better football player in my personal view, Tyler Warren has that, and he's already kind of ready-made.
Ben Johnson is an arrogant man.
All right, we're moving on. It's been 23 minutes. We haven't done the first pick yet. Okay, so
he wants arrogant football players.
No, you're done. Okay, so just to say so forth, what the chat has shown with the votes we have, surprisingly, actually, Colston Loveland is beating in terms of the two tight ends. Tyler Warren's at 3, Colston Loveland at 4. Derek Harmon actually leading the vote currently, which I can actually appreciate. I appreciate Bears fans liking the Derek Harmon idea. So, thank you for that, Bears fans. I think that's fun. We are going to. I gotta pull back up. Pull back our PFF here. And we are going to take Tyler Warren. 3 out of 4 wins. All 3 of us are going to say Tyler Warren. I'm going to say Tyler Warren as well. And I'm not going to repeat it. It's for all the reasons that those two just said. Moving through this, we are now up. Just a couple names that went off the board that I think are important to highlight here. We got Josh Simmons win at pick 19, for example. We got Shamar Stewart gone to Green Bay. Oh, no, that's terrible. Walter Nolan at pick 24. Colston Loveland as well at pick 27. Omarion Hampton win at pick 29. So I guess going to now Khari, because I asked Danny this question earlier, is there a world where you would have considered potentially trading up to pick, let's say, to pick 29 to try to get a Omarion Hampton from pick 39?
Nah, not in this draft with the running backs that there are. And I say that as a guy who I think Omarion Hampton has a ton of juice. I think I'm totally fine with any of the number of second round running backs we still have left.
I agree with that. Okay, so some names that we do have available for our second pick, and I will say we could potentially open up a trade back from one of these two picks, either 39 or 41. We weren't going to do it for the first pick, but we can go from here. So a couple names that are just exist here: Omar Norman Lott. I don't know that he would necessarily be here. What are your thoughts, Danny, on him being a pick at 39?
If you understand what you're taking, like I said, he is a defensive pass rush specialist on the interior. I just don't know that he's going to ever be a full-time player.
Yeah. A couple other names that stand out to me, if there's anything stands out to y'all: Kevin Winston, safety; Jaden Higgins, wide receiver; Landon Jackson, edge; Jack Besh, wide receiver; Braden Swinson, edge; Jonathan Jackson, tackle / guard, depending on how you want to look at him; Carson Schwessinger, a linebacker; JT Tumalalu, edge; Travion Henderson, halfback; Caleb Johnson, running back. Quinshon Judkins, all available here. So, Khari, where's your head kind of leaning as we're sitting here at pick 39?
I think because you have a pick, 2 picks later, I'm down to trade this one.
So the options are you could trade back to 69 or 103.
I would pick at this one and trade back from the other one.
Yes.
That's me.
Oh my God. Come on, Patriots.
With
what are you
those
doing?
options available, yes.
That was trash.
Okay. Can I throw my hat in the ring? As much as me being who I am, Quinshon Judkins is one of my favorite running backs that I evaluated in this class. I don't know that they're going to particularly want him for this scheme. The Detroit Lions ran more outside zone than any team in football last year. Ben Johnson has historically called a very multiple running game, but I don't know that he's going to be fitting their aesthetic. And I know everyone loves Travion Henderson, except for me. Apparently, I'm the guy who hates him. I don't hate him. I think he's very limited.
I just don't think he fits here. Yeah.
I think he's fast. He's fast. That's his thing.
And great. Being fast with Stevie Wonder vision doesn't get you anywhere. We already have that here in Chicago with DeAndre Swift. He's a great blocker. He is. If your selling point to me is that you're fast and can block, but everything else about you is you're trying to project it, you can't. How many times have we heard the college running back who's insanely fast and a game breaker with bad vision? Well, all you got to do is make him see the field better. How many of those guys ever actually end up seeing the field better?
Oh, you don't gain that. That's not a thing.
No, that's a field thing.
So where is your mind going then, Danny? If those two are not Caleb, on your plate.
Caleb.
Oh, God, gross. Okay. I'm going to put Quinshon Judkins as an option just because I'm going with my heart there. So then I'm not going to put Travion Henderson, which is going to piss people off, and I will put Caleb Johnson instead then as a second option.
I think you should throw the offensive tackle from Ohio State in there too.
I am more than okay with that. What are your thoughts on that, Khari? Jonathan?
Yeah, because I think that is a multi-dimensional piece. We talked about it earlier. The fact that you need one of two things here. You need a potential heir to one of your injury-prone / older guards, which Donovan Jackson could potentially be. Or you need a guy that maybe was a little bit miscast and could have played left tackle if it wasn't for Josh Simmons being there the whole time and looked pretty decent at left tackle, and maybe that's your guy. Who knows? I think you can't go wrong with having him on your list.
And then for a fourth option, are we thinking wide receiver? Because again, Besh is there. A Kyle Williams, who I think is flying up some boards and people expect to potentially be a early second round pick, or would edge be an option? Landon Jackson, for example.
Okay, I love Landon Jackson. I don't know with the Bears wanting to be in a really ready to win now mode that he is going to be the guy they want. Like, you can theoretically ease him in because you have Dio Otabango and you have Montez Sweat opposite, so you could wash him in. And I love the attitude, great desire, great measurables. The guy is a freak. I just don't know that he's good at anything yet, other than playing really hard.
That's also why I thought he could fit here, just because you don't need him to be a guy right away. But I like his ceiling more than JT's, for example. I mean, I like JT,
right? But
he's someone I could put here.
Right, I would say JT because the floor is just different, and I don't know how long. Like, there's a possibility JT tops out as a 6-sack-a-year pocket pusher because he's so big and strong, but that's not sexy. But sexy isn't always a necessity, you know. My vote would be JT.
And Khari, if you were kind of going that, I guess two-pronged question. One, edge versus receiver, and then two, let's say it was edge. Do you have a thought between a guy like a JT versus a Landon Jackson?
I think I would probably lean JT there as well. But here's the thing. I actually like Jaden Higgins, I think, more than I expected to. I just don't know that wide receiver is going to be a big priority for this team in the like this high in the draft, right?
Yeah.
Not that you couldn't use one, but I feel like they already kind of have their setup right now with DJ Moore, Roma Dunze, Olamide Zaccheaus. Like, I feel like they're kind of already set with at least your top three or three options there. And then you got your tight ends. We've already selected Tyler Warren. I don't know that you need more playmakers kind of this high in the draft. I think what you do need is edges, though. You need more pass rush. And so I would probably lean towards that because, look, you want to talk, take best player available, but I think need is still going to matter here.
Mm-hmm.
So I finalized then the mock there, the options for the poll. Pulling this up now, we got Quinshon Judkins, Caleb Johnson, Donovan Jackson, and JT. We'll go ahead, let y'all vote a little for a minute or two here. But I mean, I do really like, we mentioned Kyle Williams. I do think he's going to be a guy who might even sneak into the end of the first round just because teams are just really like him. I think a guy like Luther Burden is going to fall further than people think because you need a plan for him, and it needs to be a very specific plan. He's a little gadgety in nature. So he honestly would be a solid one in my opinion. I personally like Landon Jackson a little more than JT just because I want to swing a bit more for the fences. Yeah. But that's just me personally. But we'll go with JT here since you two are, again, I like JT. Like you said, Danny, it's higher floor, maybe not quite as high of a ceiling.
Mm-hmm. You're willingly saying we're taking the good, unspectacular football player.
Yes.
So, Danny, between these four, then, we're talking Quinshon, Caleb, Donovan, and JT. Who are you leaning?
As much as I am very indifferent on how I feel versus the rest of the draft community seems to feel on Caleb Johnson, that's where I'm kind of leaning because I think the fit is too perfect. And I think the fall off from running backs after you get past that little Quinshon, Caleb area is pretty stark. And I think that it matters to Ben Johnson, clearly. And the running back room needs an overhaul.
Yeah.
It's not good enough.
Yeah, I think I like Quinshon Judkins better as a player, but I think Caleb Johnson feels like the pick. He feels like the kind of guy they would go with. He feels like, y'all
are killing me.
More juice. Yeah, I feel like maybe more juiceful like David Montgomery. They love David Montgomery over there.
For me, I guess it's some of the advanced stats don't just support Caleb as much, in my opinion. I don't know what it is. It's just not quite as poppy to me, and just the way that Quinshon runs again. It's something that I just attach to more. But
same.
But I'll lean.
He reminds me of Charbonnet with less power coming out of UCLA a couple of years back.
Which sounds super not fun.
It's not. It's not sexy. It's effective though.
the voting right now has Donovan Jackson just absolutely crushing it. The Bears Midwest Scout is clamoring for a guard tackle. Does that change y'all's thought at all, or are we locking in Caleb?
My only quibble with it is I don't think he's here in real life. I think Donovan Jackson's going to go a lot higher than people realize.
That's not what we're doing. We're doing who's here.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I'm down for Donovan Jackson.
Let me ask a question here. So this I think will inform whether or not I want to go with Donovan Jackson over Caleb Johnson right now, because I think this is actually a thing for me. Are we for sure? I mean, I guess we can't say without knowing who's there, but are we really trying to trade back from the next pick, from the next second round pick? Are we like intent on doing that?
I think I'm pretty intent on it because you need picks.
So
I'm not gung ho on it because we're at 35 minutes and have a lot of picks left and want to do a second one. So I don't know that I need another pick.
So let me propose this, because I think that Donovan Jackson, I'm interested in trying him out at left tackle. I really am. I think he can do it. And if he can't do it, I think that he might still be one of your best 5 offensive linemen at some point, maybe this year or maybe next year. I think I find that worth taking a bit of a shot at. And then you can pick a running back with your next pick potentially, assuming it's only like a drop into the 50s or something.
You know what? Considering that pretty much everyone is on board with this, we'll go with Donovan Jackson. He is drafted, pick 39. Moving on. The only person, Avery Watts went at 40, so we're in the same conversation here. Actually, let me remove that from the screen because who cares about that right now? So we could stick and pick just because we know who's here. Again, and we're not doing this to try to be as realistic as possible. I'm not going to sit here and be like, this person's here, this person's not here. I'm just not doing that. So we're picking who's available. So in terms of trades, because I know that was brought up, we can move down back to 44, 48, 57. So Cowboys, Dolphins, and Panthers are all calling.
48. Let's see what we got.
48. Yep.
All right, Miami Dolphins. They could give us obviously 48. We would give them 41. How's the math work for 98?
Do we want to use the PFF one?
I think 110 is probably your better bet for how that adds up.
To go from 41 down to
48.
48. Yeah, do 110.
$110? Wait, you mean 116?
Oh,
116. Sorry.
Okay, I was.
Man, you know I literally can't read because it's on my phone.
I know. I was just confused for a second. I mean, yeah, they'll take that. So
I just don't think they'd be giving up a top 100 pick to move
cool.
on.
Well, it's so close to not being in the top 100. So close. All right, we'll do that. 41 for 48 and 116. We'll scooch back a bit in the draft. TJ Sanders, Besh, of course, I will move too fast. Jaden Higgins, Braden Switson, Maxwell Harrison, JT, and Omar Norman Lott all went. So the way that this worked out, I mean, we could still take whichever running back we so choose here.
I would like Caleb Johnson at this point, just because we traded back, we got the offensive tackle, and this is about maximizing Caleb, right? Like Ben Johnson's going to want to fix the offense.
We need our Caleb. Yeah, it's like we need our Caleb squared and our Johnson squared. Okay, we got matching Caleb's and matching Johnsons.
God, I'm gonna pick Quinchon so hard in the next draft.
No pause.
Caleb Johnson. I'm putting this.
I can't put this right now.
I'm putting an asterisk on this. I just want everyone to know GM Ryan Pohl / Mason West is not okay, but I'm leaning on my staff. We're gonna go with Caleb Johnson.
But you gonna fire us?
If this doesn't work out, yeah, I'm firing you. Get out of here. Danny, shouldn't you have a job somewhere so we can have a comp pick?
I'm not black.
No, exactly. Not him. It's me.
Yeah, but you're not the assistant GM. Are you really getting a call as
this might have actually worked out in our favor?
Replace him with me. There you go. You're the GM.
Oluwafemi Oladejo fell right into our laps, guys.
Okay, I got to start making the voting. Okay, couple layers to this. One, yes, he fell in the lap. That's fantastic. So I really like him. Danny, talk about him a little bit. You have 2 minutes.
I want to talk about.
Oh, I thought you wanted to talk about Olu.
No, but actually, the guy, if you're giving me a runway, is Josiah Stewart, is who I'd like to talk about. I don't think he's particularly a fit, but I like Josiah Stewart.
I love Josiah Stewart. He's gonna be so fun. Fine. You talk about. Go talk about Josiah for a second while
Josiah
Do we
plays like
do we
he's-
have to talk about Josiah, or can we just take him?
Well, we got to talk about him because that's the point of the show.
I'm sold. I'm good.
Yeah, but we want. Why does it fine? Why does
Josiah
everyone?
is
people
not
wanna
an
know?
ideal
Because
fit.
he's literally like his like win rate is hilarious. Like he's literally the best.
He also plays like he's 50 pounds bigger than he actually is. It's going to get him hurt, but I kind of don't care because he plays like he's set on fire. And it's great.
And I do think this is where he would go. I think he's going to be probably like a 3rd round pick. So this also matches.
He's like 6'1", 240. He's just tiny.
Antonio
that's
is
not-
dead set on getting a receiver like early. It's. I appreciate the commitment. The one. Okay.
I do, because we know where the game is, but at the same time I laid it out. You got 3 receivers and 2 tight ends, and you got running backs. You got running backs now too. We have like 6 people we got to share, 7 people we got to share the ball with. That's too many.
Okay, so a couple things to highlight here. So I put, and for the poll, I'm putting Olu. We're talking about Olu. I'm putting Josiah Stewart. I'm putting Andrew Makuba, by the way, because I think safety is a sneaky need.
I do like Makube.
And his game is solid. Is there? I'm already forgetting who we.
Alfred
Okay. Also,
Collins is right there too.
Alfred Collins. That was the other name I'm looking. I'm putting that in the poll. Alfred Collins. Love that man. So who? Dan, you want to talk about Alfred since Khari kind of did Josiah?
Yeah, Alfred Collins is kind of, in a way, remind me a bit of a little bit, tiny bit of Akeem Hicks. Not like in the sense of the grown ass man version that we had here in Chicago for a while, but the one that was trying to develop into that guy. So I think that it's very much worth noting that he's a big man who plays very hard, and I think he could be a really solid at this point in the draft. The question becomes, when you're addressing the trenches on the defensive side of the ball right now, are you wanting to address the defense of interior with someone like Collins, or do you want to address the edge where you know that you have less resources already committed?
So if I could, me personally, I'm picking edge right here because I think that there are a number of defensive interior guys that I still like that might go.
I think the defensive interior is much deeper. Right.
Yeah, I mean, because once you get past this little cluster we're at here, because our next pick's not going to be till 116. I mean, you're probably looking at guys like, which I don't hate, but like, Ciaran Ingram Dawkins. You're looking at Kyle Kennard. You're looking at Fadil Diggs, Jared Ivey. It's just not something that I'm necessarily as excited about compared to some of the defensive tackles that you might get later. I mean, those names are going to include guys like I have to double check, but oh no, he with the one pick before. That's a bummer. CJ West. I just saw that. But JJ, I always butcher his name. Pegas is an example.
Yeah, Pegas. Love that guy. Little bowling ball ass dude. Love him.
Yeah. So there's a couple other guys that fit here. So
you know what? I changed my tune.
Okay.
Josiah. I went into everything about why Tyler Warren is such a fit culturally with this coaching staff. Josiah is the same way. That dude is set on fire. He's here for the smoke. He doesn't care how small he is in relation to anyone he's playing against. I know he's not a perfect fit, but he doesn't have to be because he'll be rotating behind Dio and Montez Sweat. Get that man on my football team.
There we go. Listen, the last thing I'm going to say about it is, I just love a guy who plays with no regard for human life. Josiah plays with no regard for human life. He plays like he
don't give a fuck about you.
He plays like he hates you. Okay, you need guys like that on your football team.
I'll take Josiah Stewart. I will say, because Dan Fassel asked the question, is Olu a project rotation ready? I think he's fairly ready, to be quite honest. I just think because he plays with power, plays with effort. He's got a lot of pass rush upside. He's going to see some immediate snaps. Like, he's not starting for you, but he's a part of your rotation with 3 down potential, or very quickly with 3 down potential. So I think he's someone that, like, we talk about that whole fun versus full high floor, low ceiling, all that jazz. Olu's probably your higher floor guy. I would even think, just like, honestly, from a do you get hurt perspective, because the way that Josiah plays with his body, I think he's likely to get hurt, or not likely, but has a chance to get hurt first. But he's just awesome.
I also love that we're just telling our Midwest scouts to go scratch, like, just fuck this dude.
Well, to be fair, chat, there's 329 people watching, only 4 of you voting, so your power is not as high here. So
you have no power here.
We went ahead and we took Josiah, as I said at the top of that little spiel I just did.
Huzzah!
He's great. I mean, I don't think it'll happen, but he's just great.
Oh, he's not a fit at all, but I kind of don't care.
I just give me the awesome football player at this point. Okay. All right. So we have addressed so far in this draft. We have Tyler Warren at tight end, Jonathan Jackson tackle, Caleb Johnson Gross at running back, and Josiah Stewart edge.
Caleb Johnson is going to be a good football player, man.
I know. Okay. Here's where I'm going to say. I'm going to say this out here right now. What are your thoughts on Torrey Horton, wide receiver out of Colorado State? I can finally let Antonio get a dope receiver. I love Torrey Horton.
I really like Torrey Horton too.
Yeah, me too.
He's a good football player.
He's good. He's a damn good football player. Like, I remember watching Colorado State Colorado game. He's like the best. He was the best player on the field.
Who's left at defensive tackle?
I can give you that information. Yeah, people are gonna be pissed. We didn't take anyone. Peebles, he's still available.
Ty Robinson is a mo.
Ty Robinson is available. Deion Walker, Danny, we had a brief conversation.
Giant dude who's just like, he just goes straight. That's just all he does.
He wants to kill
destruction
you
in a nice linear path.
He's the juggernaut. He's the juggernaut.
So those are some in terms of receivers that are left. I mean, Isaiah Bond is still here. I think he's going to go a little.
Antonio is dead set that we need a receiver.
So Antonio said something earlier I meant to talk about too. He said if Rome or DJ get hurt, we're screwed. And that's not what he said, but I'm paraphrasing. I mean, like, what team wouldn't be? You take the Dolphins and Tyreek Hill gets hurt, you're in trouble. You take the Rams and you take either Puka or what was, now the corpse of Cooper Kupp. They were not very good. I mean, you can just go through team after team, and if you lose your number 1, number 2 guy, you're in trouble. And the Bears technically have what I believe ultimately will be 2 number 1-ish guys.
It is an absolute trip reading the comments in this, because like, we need a safety, we need this, we need that. Guys, there's not enough picks.
Yeah, we don't. That's the problem. We don't have enough picks.
Here's the thing too. I feel like
Jalen Lane. Jalen Lane's awesome
the kind
too.
of position.
I think we can wait because maybe Jalen Lane would be available for us at 148.
Yeah, safety's the kind of position that I'm like, sign that guy or draft him later. Like, you can get away with that.
So what would you guys think about then going with Ty Robinson here?
I like Ty Robinson, but he fits my aesthetic of a football player. Like the way Khari was describing Josiah, just kill stuff like that. Ty too.
I just think
I like Peebles personally. He's undersized. I get it, but I like him.
But you already have 2-3 techniques.
Throw more bodies at it. Damn it.
I think you need more. You need your Billings person.
And here's what I would say too. I think Peebles has that kind of bowling ball body type where he's just like a little bit like stockier, where I think you could play him at either 1 or 3.
You're just calling him a short fat guy. You just did.
He is, but he can move. He's a short fat guy that can move.
It's a short
That's the thing. Like,
or do we go with Pegasus so we have both the defensive tackle and another toy for
love
Ben
that
Johnson.
little. I was about to say something a little egregious, but I love that dude.
You had to catch yourself real quick.
Yes.
Would have been enough picks if we didn't take Warren. That doesn't make any sense. I gotta stop reading chat sometimes. Okay, so we're going defensive interior. It's between Robinson and Peebles. I'm going with Ty Robinson. I want a little more heft.
All right, fine.
Look, I had to draft Caleb Johnson. Deal with it.
I had to he's so mad about this. Like
I'm upset. I don't know.
Siding with the assistant G. I mean, he's the assistant GM, so whatever.
Yeah. Okay. So we now have 3 picks remaining. We still probably need at least some wide receiver depth. We're going to need a safety at some point. We haven't actually no, we took care of that already. I lied. This is also kind of the I ask the room. Is there anyone that you're just like pounding the table for at this point? That you're like, man, I'd like this person on my team.
You took Aeneas Peoples away from me. So.
I'll never forgive you.
Jack Kaiser's awesome.
Danny,
Jack
can I offer you
Kaiser's
Jalen Lane?
Give me him. Give him to. You can have another Hokie.
I literally
there.
can't read this. My forehead's looking all huge right now.
So Jalen Lane I like because of what he can do for you both, and because you took him, I think, in our last mock, Danny, both as a receiver but also on special teams.
Mm-hmm. And he's fast.
He is fast.
No, Pat Bryant is gone. I believe.
Pat Bryant is gone.
Jimmy Horn.
Okay, well, you can't have both.
Well, you're gonna figure it out, GM.
You can't have both Jimmy Horn and Jalen Lane. Which one?
Hey, people want a receiver. Jimmy Horn.
So would you like Jalen Lane now, or would you like Jimmy Horn later?
I think.
So,
go ahead, but I was gonna probably say what you were gonna say. Go ahead.
No, go ahead, Khari. Go ahead.
I think Jimmy Horn in reality is probably more of like a priority free agent kind of guy. I feel like you could get him later.
Yeah, I would say probably go with Lane. Lane is, and he's really fast, and I think that Ben Johnson is going to really want somebody that's fast.
I like when the mock simulator forfeits picks. Like why?
Pick forfeited. Like, how did you not? You just didn't have a bum you'd wanted to throw up there.
just so silly. Okay, 2 picks left. At some point, we need a safety just for some depth. I'm curious because I think they might do this. What running backs will they double dip at running back?
I think they will. I really think they will.
You really think so?
I think so. The problem is there's not any good ones left, so we're not worried about that.
These ones all suck.
Yo, do we still have damn it? Marcus Yarn is Marcus Yarn's he's
no,
still
he's
there?
gone. No, he's
Damn
gone.
it.
I know
Marcus Young.
he'd be fun, but he's gone.
Man.
All right. So basically, I'm gonna be honest. This part
You
of
still
it.
lost Aeneas Peoples. Get shit on.
Hey, you want Shiloh Sanders? That's a safety.
No.
He was specifically in my please don't draft him one. So we're gonna take a safety just for some depth. Again, we're gonna do another one of these, so stay tuned. But we're gonna go with Dante Trader, 4th-year senior, mainly because he actually played lacrosse. He played lacrosse in college. It was great.
Oh, it's perfect. Bill Belichick would be proud.
I like my multi-sport athletes, and I think that makes the most sense. And then, oh God, who cares? Because we're just going to do another one right away.
Random ass guy. All right, let's see. What random ass guys do we like in this?
I refuse to pick a gray. So
completely unrelated note. My wife just sent me a video of my kid taking her first steps.
Oh my God!
I actually
live here on the pod.
What you just said, but
no, that's awesome, dude. I mean, sorry you weren't there for it.
Wait, what happened?
Penny just took her first steps.
What?
Yeah. Sucks I'm not there to see it, but
Okay, get him off this pod so that he can go watch his kid take some steps.
So what we're gonna do, Danny, you absolutely can legitimately go like.
No, it's okay. It's
good.
Your
family.
She's making dinner for the kid. She's
okay. So we ended up with in this draft Tyler Warren, Donovan Jackson. We traded back a bit, got Caleb Johnson, Josiah Stewart, Ty Robinson, Jalen Lane, Dante Trader, and Shmail Mondon.
Oh, hey, look, it's the guy that can't do anything but run fast in a straight line, and Shmail Mondon.
Hey.
I mean, yeah. What else do you need on kick coverage? So we'll just dive right in. We're gonna do a new mock.
We need to go faster on this one.
Wait, don't
We're
you
doing
dare
another one?
say that to me. We're going to do another quick one. It's only been 54 minutes.
You're a quick one.
All right, we're going to do this real fast. It's on turbo. We're going to fly a few. All right, so I'm going to really quickly list off who's gone because this is the
Malachi
most.
Starks. Take him. No, I'm just kidding.
Okay, anyway. Abdul
Don't
Carter,
do that.
Cam Ward, Travis Hunter, Ashton Genty went to the Patriots. Mason Graham, Will Campbell, Tet McMillan, Ajay Barron, and Armand Membu. So
You're telling me one again.
just do it again. Just piss off everyone. So to be of
Mike
course.
Green.
Do you want to trade back to pick 30?
Yeah, just do it. To pick 30, and we'll take
We'll take
62.
3 tackles.
Okay, that seems a little wild.
You're a wild one.
Let's take who we were going to take in the first one. We're going to take what about
Kelvin
Khari?
Banks Jr.?
No. Okay, here. So this actually, I'm glad you brought that up. I hear you because it makes sense. Tackles a need, all the things, and there's some smoke going on with Banks. Specifically, the Bears offensive line coach today, Dan Ruchar, talked about how important balance was as a positive aspect right out of the gate, which makes me think Kelvin Banks is not an option because that man can't stand up.
No,
He's on the ground
stand
constantly. So
Absolutely. Okay, yo, Derek Harmon, love it. Let's go.
Him and Cole Kmet share the same lover, the grass.
All right, Derek Harmon is our pick. It was a heated debate in the first mock.
Let's
It makes
go.
sense in the
Please-
second one.
Please in the fan base.
So we can adjust going forward. Pick 39. They're offering Eagles are offering at 64 to come up. That seems like a far drop. I don't think
screw
we're
that.
getting it. So do we go with?
I'm down to do the
Benjamin
Landon
Morrison?
Jackson.
Look, I like Benjamin Morrison.
Benjamin Morrison is a first round pick if he doesn't have the hip problem. The problem is he's a corner with a hip problem.
Look, I appreciate
Hey,
that.
Jalen Johnson was a corner with a shoulder problem.
That doesn't mean impact your running.
Can I interest
Impact
any
your
of you
tackling.
in a safety? Like I like Emanwari. What if we got him?
Oh, he's here? Okay.
If you want to go with the freak show, go ahead. I don't agree.
Well, I mean, especially in the second round, my thing with him is like, my personal thing is like, don't take Malachi Starks after Emanwari just because Emanwari can jump out of the gym or whatever. But Emanwari in the second round, okay.
What's he good at?
The main thing is athlete. Let's be real, but that's the main thing.
If he's good at football, why isn't he good at football?
Hey, look.
Okay, don't you dare put the Shamar Stewart combo on him.
Hey, real quick, since we want to talk about good football players who happen to play positions that people really want, I like one Xavier Watts.
He's just a good safety too. He's just a damn good safety.
Good. Xavier.
He's a damn good player.
The Notre Dame grad pushing his Notre Dame players. Shocking, I say.
Okay, let's do this.
Is he not a good player?
He's an awesome player. Whoever is coaching, Mike Mickens or whatever his name is, whoever's coaching up the DBs in Notre Dame is doing a really good job.
All right, we're taking Xavier Watts, and then we're going to be happy about it.
Okay.
Bam. Y'all wanted safeties. There you go.
All right. Now, again, if we want to trade back, this is probably like the real draft. It would be 103. So we're not doing that.
Okay.
So far, we have Derek Harmon, we have Xavier Watts. So we have our defense. We got defense.
Is in shambles right now.
Ben Johnson's quite upset. Tyler Booker is available if you want to go with him.
Doesn't fit.
It doesn't in any way, shape, or form.
Landon Jackson, just to really make him have an aneurysm.
What are your thoughts? I'm going to throw out 3 names and y'all debate it. All right. The 3 names I have for you are Landon Jackson, where'd you go? Elijah Arroyo, tight end. And then we're going to say Quinshon Judkins. Of those 3, who would you take?
Give me Judkins.
Ariante Ursary.
That was not one of the 3 names.
I don't care.
Of the 3 names, who would it be?
Ariante Ursary.
All right, since my assistant GM is just decided to quit,
going rogue.
I'm going to go with
Antonio. No, I don't hate Judkins. He's actually probably my favorite running back I've evaluated. I just have a stark thought of what his fit is.
We're going with Judkins because he's arguably my favorite player in the draft.
Because he's your guy. Okay.
Yeah. And also because you also were on my side.
All right,
Fuck
what do we got? Okay, so I'm curious. What do we got with tackles right now?
Probably nothing.
Nothing
Bad.
good.
Probably nothing
Ozzy,
good.
Mabo. I mean, he's not a tackle, but he could play inside. And then
Hey,
I
we
would
got
actually say
Jonah.
of this group, I would say Sivanea.
Yeah, Jonah.
You're right.
Jonah, I think yeah. But he's also a guy that's just like he'll do whatever.
Yeah, he's not probably gonna play tackle, but I think he's gonna be solid.
And then worst case, because he did play tackle, you could always be like break in case of emergency, but he's playing guard for you.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're kind of in that same thing we were at before, where it's kind of more of a what is there a player you're excited about that you'd like here that we didn't already take?
We need to look at running back. Like now.
The double dip, yeah, because we know that it gets gross later.
Ugh.
Yarns is here.
Yarns,
Tootin,
give me yarns.
Bashal
Right
Tootin,
now.
Tosh Brooks. Okay.
Tootin.
There are two names here that I'm going to highlight. The one that, three names I'm going to highlight. Tootin is one of my favorite. I keep saying this. I love the running backs in this draft. Is one of my favorite players in this draft. Taj Brooks is also one I really like. And then I watched more Ollie Gordon after Danny, you took him. Also really like him.
Gordon, yes. Yes.
Ollie Gordon is really good if you want the most boring, straight north-south runner of all time. That's all he does. He's north-south. And that's fine. He's good at it. And I think he's got the build to stand up to it.
So like somebody like Marcus, so Marcus Yarns is like slight Matt Forte.
So I was actually gonna say if you're looking to do the double dip thing, you need the complement to Quinchon, right?
Which would be Tootin.
Tootin, or I would even say Yarns. Yarns got good pass catching ability.
Tootin's just like he's fun. He ran a 4.32 40. He's
His
a balanced
contact
runner
balance,
that's got
his
crazy
contact
contact
balance.
bounce.
Insane.
He's going to be able to give you kick return stuff. I think because, like what Danny said, I think because you can pair him with Judkins more specifically, that's why you'd go.
Yes. But I also think Yarns is a guy that like imagine Ben Johnson getting his hands on Marcus Yarns.
That's the fair point. Yarns is really interesting.
Oh my God, you would have linebackers in a freaking torture chamber. That would be horrible for them.
Here's the thing: I just think that he ends up being like a 6th or 7th round pick, ultimately in the draft.
That's probably true. Yeah, probably.
So I just think you get him as like if we're gonna play if we're just deciding who to pick between the two, and we're playing this game, I think you take Tootin here just because of that.
All right, so y'all gonna overrule me? That's okay. That's okay. Look,
what do you mean? We drafted Judkins together.
It's true. Yeah, I'm the only one who's been overruled consistently in this draft.
All right, I'll let you have picks 233 and 240, Danny.
Oh, thanks, buddy.
But this is your job, Danny. This is your guy.
My job is to make the dummy to stop trading up.
Hey, you want some LeJohntay Webster?
Ooh, yeah. Arunde Gadsden. That's an interesting swing tight end.
Thank you. I actually do. I was literally going to point him out.
Go with Arunde. You need a tight end swing.
Damn, let's go. Hit the button. Hit the button.
Well, really quick. Part of the show is to also educate. So I would like to slightly say what Arunde does. The reason that I think is going to be good is because he's really tall, rangy. He's added bulk over the last couple of years, which has been great. He's a very willing blocker. He was actually responsible for 16 catches for 20 yards or more in 2024, which is 4th amongst FBS tight ends. The reason he's not super high up, he had a Liz Frank injury in 2023, which required endothelial surgery, and his frame and body mass is like not perfect for the position. I mean, he's 6 foot 243, so it's like he's kind of a big receiver.
He got that big body.
So that's one of the reasons why he's probably further down here. And also he ran a 4.65 at his 40. So
listen, if Deion Waiters can play in the NBA, he can play in the NFL.
But we're gonna take Arunde because I do think he could be a fun piece. We didn't take a set.
Let me stop.
All right, we got one pick left. So just what we did, we have defensive interior Derek Harmon, we have a safety and Xavier Watts, halfback Quinchon Judkins. Our guard in our reality, Jonah. We double dipped. We got Tootin and then Arunde for tight end. I mean, we didn't really get a tackle. That's the bump.
And you didn't get an edge defender either.
Yeah. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take an edge, and just be like, we need a body.
Oh boy.
We need a
Oh
body.
boy.
Even
God, those are some names that are bad.
those are in fact names. They are in this draft.
Hey, you want some Tennessee whiskey right here? Some Johnny Walker?
Do you know anything about Johnny Walker?
No.
We're gonna go with Ethan Downs because he's just longer. He's 6'3", so he's got the length. Actually, Elijah Ponder.
These names suck.
Yeah. What about Ponder? No,
You mean Plunger?
Take the best name on the list.
we're gonna go with Downs. Okay, we're overthinking. Pick 240 here.
It's the best name on the list.
All right, so we ran through 2 mocks. One a little more in depth. Second one a little quicker. Pull it up real quick.
That is a terrible. If this is how this draft went, I would throw my phone.
The second one was just more for funsies, obviously, for everyone in the chat that's like freaking the heck out.
Okay, so hold on. So this draft is gonna get a C-. That's my guess. My final grade is C-.
Oh God,
Good.
I mean, C.
Damn. Okay, well.
So here's the thing, too. Derek Harmon is not an F even at 10. I think he's a guy that very easily could be the first defensive interior off the board, somewhere between 10 and 18.
I feel like I'll put it this way. 2 years ago at about this time, we would have it would have been an F to put
Darnell right there.
Yeah, Darnell right there. So that's all I'm saying.
Yeah, and also, truth be told, I think we were just having fun with the second one. But a safety in round 2 is malpractice. Quinton Judkins.
That was our lone A, Danny.
Quinton Judkins being a D at 41 is crazy.
That's stupid. That
it is, but I also again, 2 things can be true. I can love Quinton Judkins because he fits my aesthetic at running back, and there's a lot of the big, powerful. I'm gonna take the fight to you running backs in this class, and that just warms the cockles of my heart. But Quinton Judkins, I don't think really fits. And I struggle with trying to see him here because so much of what Ben Johnson wants to do is in the pass catching game and wants in outside zone. And so much of Quinton is the theoretical of his measurables.
Which is really unfortunate because for some reason, I feel like I could really actually like the aesthetic of him in a Bears jersey. I could totally see that.
Right.
And if I'm being completely honest, yes. I mean, for as much I rail against Caleb Johnson for some of the advanced metric issues, if you look at some of the efficiency numbers,
he's slow.
Quinton Judkins also has some issues in terms to
This is nonsense. Turn the chat off. This is nonsense. JT's slow. Go away.
GT is slow. Okay, well, that's just crazy. That's when we say that we're gonna wrap.
That's when we say we're done.
Yeah, that's when we say we're done with that.
We're gonna wrap. That's it.
All right. Thanks for joining us. Again, this is more for fun. This is just to kind of to run through some potential stuff that could happen. We're using the PFF, and we can just see by this. I mean, the fact that you're giving Xavier Watts an A at 30, pick 39, but again, we're saying Judkins is a D, Harmon is an F. It's craziness. And we saw some of those names that were available and not available. There's only so much you can do with this. So hopefully y'all had a good time. Just have talking about
Deion Waiters of tight ends at round 7. Let's go.
Hey, you watch. Ronnie's gonna be great. Okay, this is basically the last that we're gonna hear from any of us before draft day, which is a week from today. What are your closing draft thoughts, Danny?
Enjoy it. I don't think there's not going to be a universally loved pick at 10, and I think that they're going to have an enormously hard time trading down from 10. And I know there's been some whispers that they might try to trade up. I think that'd be really silly on their part, unless it's like a swap of picks, like in the second round where they fall back from like 41 or something.
That's what I mean. That's all I think it is. Like, you know what I mean?
But the draft is really meaningful this year, and I think they're going to try to go with a lot more win now players than you realize, because they have to. The GM's back is up against the wall to some extent, even with the new head coach. He didn't get an extension.
No, that's valid. Okay, Khari, what are your closing thoughts?
Try not to get too pissed off. It's not that deep.
Bingo. And we have no bearing or outcome on the picks.
No bearing, but
Actually,
You need to stop.
I've actually predicted.
No, I do
a
not. I'm
bunch of-
trying to get my dad joke game going. Damn it.
And on that note, that's all we got. Tune in. There's going to be plenty of coverage from Second City Gridiron for the picks that are going to be coming up Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. So, for example, Friday I'll be hosting for the 2 picks. Unless they trade up, then I'll host whichever. Basically, Friday I'll be mostly doing some stuff for the second round. We'll have a couple people doing the first round. Jacob Infante is going to pop in for every single pick and give his 2 cents. I know Danny said he's going to pop in and out occasionally for some different things. So join us for this draft a week from today, and let's have fun with it. Bear down.